All right, all right. First night, opening NFL season. And we're here, 2023 starts off with a big upset in the defending champs go down 21-20. Dan Cucimilio here along with Los D and our special guest. You guys all know him out there as Bay Area Baller. How you doing, Baller?
Hey, I'm feeling good. Happy to be here. What a game we got to open up the NFL season. It was exciting. I know we're going to break it down, but I'm happy to be here. I've been a longtime subscriber of the channel, so, hey, I appreciate the invite and excited to talk some ball.
Awesome. It was a game. It started off crazy with the 4th and 2 on their own 18. I was driving home, talking to Los on the phone, and he's like, "Whoa, Lions
fake punt!" Whoa,
hey,
that's big time. Dan Campbell, pulling out all the stops. Because to beat the champs, you gotta have one or two plays in there where you can convert a third down or a fourth down. You got to steal a possession.
You got to steal exactly.
And that's what the Lions did right there, and it came up clutch. Jared Goff. Thought Jared Goff played pretty well. He was hitting Amon-Ra St. Brown. The rookie Sam Laporta out of Iowa looked good, catching some passes. But fellas, what did you guys think about that Chiefs offense? Because Travis Kelce obviously being out did not look like the same Chiefs offense to me.
Definitely looked a little bit different. That's his go-to guy, especially on third downs. And boy, Kadarius Toney had a horrible game, man. Chiefs fans don't boo very often.
Yeah,
for them to boo that loud, like he dropped a lot of balls, man. So
well, I'll tell you, Los, and to your question, Baller, with Kelce out, the difference, you think, oh well, another tight end, he could just run the routes. But Kelce runs routes to the openings of the zones. And the mesh, the connection between him and Mahomes. I had a buddy like that growing up where we played ball together, basketball, and we just knew who, it was the two of us again, in the five, but there was five. It's like he'd make a move, I make a move, and you can read it before. And that's the thing. Mahomes knew where Kelce was thinking. It's like their brains were connected as one, and it makes a huge difference when you can, I can remember just kind of, even in football, same buddy, we played flag football growing up, and then I just give him a look. I was a receiver, he was a QB. I just kind of give him a look, and he knew what I was talking about. And that goes on with Mahomes and Kelce. And you can't replace that.
No, definitely. And, to top it off, the Chiefs' run game was non-existent. Patrick Mahomes led the Chiefs in rushing for 45 yards. Like he was doing the best he could. He was breaking through some gaps in the line, converting some third downs, but the weapons were pretty lackluster. Los pointed out the awful game by Kadarius Toney. Sky Moore, I like him. I think he's talented, but he didn't do much tonight. What did Sky do? He didn't even catch a ball. He didn't even catch a pass. I think he got an end around. He had an end around. So you got a no-show from Sky Moore. Really, the offense didn't look like the offense that we've come to see.
Yeah. Hey, before we head further, we're going to bring in the man. There he is.
I don't know about the man. Hey, what's up, Flo?
hey.
All right, Eric Romo in the house.
It's great to see you in the show, man. I appreciate it. Hey, salute.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
All right. So anyway, it was a weird night watch. And how about the right tackle for the Chiefs? What the heck was that? I mean, Collinsworth called him at the end. They finally caught him, the slot receiver, the right tackle in the slot. He was lined up a full 1.5 yards in the backfield, and then he was getting a jump on each snap. It's like, and they didn't call. I mean, I thought, wouldn't you guys, like, if you're listening to the game, wouldn't you be having one of your assistants or somebody high up in the org listen to the game and then make that phone call down to the press box or get it down to the field and say, hey, talk to the line judge. 74 is way off the line of scrimmage. They're talking about it all night long on the broadcast. You got to get that information down to the coaching staff and say, look at this guy. He's not lined up. That's illegal, because he was lined up against Hutchinson, right?
Yeah.
For a large chunk of that game, yeah.
He had the advantage because he had a 5-4, at least 3-4 yards back on Hutchinson when the ball was snapped. Yeah. So he could get in total position. It was criminal.
It just looked with the naked eye that the Lions controlled both lines of the scrimmage, both offensively and defensively. And that just kind of shows how good Mahomes is, because even without his main weapon, he still makes plays. I mean, that 4th and 25, I was having flashbacks to 3rd and 15.
Oh, God.
I swear I was. And you know what? He almost completed that.
I thought they were going to call an interference.
There's like 3 quarterbacks that could have made that throw with that velocity, and the dude dropped it. 4th and 25, he almost completed it. So, yeah, hell of an effort by the Lions. Love their coach. Love how risk-taking he is. I talked to you about that off air, Dan. Kind of wish Shanny had a little bit more of a nutsack like that, because I don't know if Shanny in his 7 years being here, 6 years. I don't know if he's ever faked a field goal, faked a punt, onside kicked, besides the obvious at the end of the game when you're just trying to get the ball back. I don't think he's ever done something outside of the box like that. That's just not in his DNA. But we'll get to Shanahan in a little bit. I definitely want to pick Baller's brain about a few topics on that.
Yeah, before we do that real quick, Mark Hope, thank you for the donation. Eric, cheers. And then another $2 donation. Guys, 93 for the Lions was killing. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, do you think the Lions, I think the obvious answer is probably going to be yes, took advantage of not having Kelsey or Chris Jones, both offensive and defensively, on the Kansas City Chiefs, right? I mean, that played a huge role in probably the outcome of this game.
No doubt.
Absolutely. The Chiefs' defense, especially in that 4th quarter, the run game finally kind of got going for the Lions. Like the yards per carry wasn't good for the Lions, but during that 4th quarter, like when they needed to gain some first downs, to put up some points, the run game got going. You saw Montgomery and then Jahmyr Gibbs. How about this kid Gibbs? He looks like the real freaking deal.
Man.
He had 7 carries for 42 yards, caught a couple balls for 18 yards, but he was dynamic with the ball in his hands. I was really impressed by the rookie Gibbs. It was a top 12 pick. He was a high draft pick.
Something tells me Gibbs is on one of Baller's fantasy teams for sure.
You know what? I got to say, I missed out on Gibbs. I know there was one draft where I think I was 2 picks away. I was like, I want Gibbs.
Yeah.
Sniped.
Yeah. That's
sure.
He's got some speed. I mean, around the edge when he gets off and he takes off. Whoa, his when he turns up. When he, turns his shoulders up, he's just boom. I mean, and he just looked good. Mark Hope, again, another $2. Hey, thanks for the 3rd and 15, Lowe's.
dude, Mark Hope, like, is a Baller related to you? Like, dude, you're like going into the wallet a lot. Baller, you need to come on more often.
Let's go, Baller. Hold it down for San Francisco.
Shout out to Mark. Mark's the man.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey. That 3rd and 15, when he threw the ball and right as it went incomplete, I said, oh, no, don't give us the KC favored flag here, because it was close. It was close. Like, oh, are they going to say he got there a split second too soon, the DB? Because there was a little bit of a collision. They didn't show the replay, and it might have been just hitting the ball, but I was like, I saw the ball flying, and I just thought, here comes the flag. Maybe this is the year the Chiefs don't get the calls, because they even got a offensive holding call on that last drive that they had the ball, which put them from first and was it 2nd and 10 to 2nd and 20, I think it was. Yeah.
And a little bit earlier in that fourth quarter, Lions had a 4th and 2, and Goff drops back and he throws it right into the line. It gets very easily knocked down. If you looked at the replay, there was a wide open seam to the left. And even as slow as Goff is, like, you got to have vision. Just step up, run, slide, first down. And again, I've had a lot of flashbacks in this game. That reminded me of something Jimmy would do. He would just throw it right into a guy that's just standing right there, not lofted over. Just throw it right in. Nice, easy, swat.
It's like that robot mentality. They couldn't adjust. They don't see the open path that opens up right in front, because it's just they're programmed like a robot. Okay, my read is here.
Yeah.
Whereas if something opens up in front of them, they're blind to it.
Like they're playing Madden and they preset the play. I'm gonna do this play no matter what the coverage and everything is.
I'm throwing it to triangle.
Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out to Senior.
That's
all
a great
the guys
comment.
they've taken KC in their survivor pool. Hey.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my! Can you imagine?
And Senior texted earlier today, and the text said, "Take the Lions and the points." I'm looking at it right there. Take the Lions and the points. I thought Lions straight up, possibly because of, as Eric mentioned, Kelsey being out, Chris Jones. But the fact is, the Lions are they've been building this. Dan Campbell's, ever since they had that year 2 years ago when they were on Hard Knocks, and a lot of people, including myself, fell in love with Dan Campbell watching Hard Knocks. And the way they closed last year, and you kind of felt like when they got the ball and it was, they started putting it on the ground and they were down 20-14 and they took the lead, you kind of felt like maybe even before they took the lead, maybe this team is risen from last year to where they're at now, that they've learned how to win those close games, where early on the year before they were losing all those close games in 22 or 21. Was it 21? Yeah. Then last year, the second half, they just started, winning. And then for them to beat Green Bay last year on a day they got knocked off earlier in the day for their playoff chances, and go into Green Bay and a meaningless game for them, but a huge game for Green Bay, who, if they won, made the playoffs, and the Lions beat them, that character carries over. And I'm telling you, I got the Lions. I had them winning. I saw Vish put his playoff teams out, his top 6 for the NFC, and he had Green Bay and no Detroit. And I said, I like your picks, except I really like Detroit in the Central this year. And what do you guys think? What do you think of Detroit, Eric?
In the NFC North,
I mean North. I said Central. I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking.
I knew what you meant. Yeah, Lions. It's the thing with the Packers. Obviously, Jordan Love's a bit of a question mark, but those receivers, which I like the young receiving core with the Packers, both of them got hamstring injuries.
Yeah, Watson
and Dobbs. Both of them, So I think that's going to be tough. So I'm wondering how they're going to start the year. And the Vikings. It's between the Vikings and the Lions for me, and I would lean Lions, but I don't know why. And I've done this. I shouldn't be fooled by the Vikings, because I always kind of do this dance where I think they're like pretty good. I know they're not great, but I think they're pretty good, and they always kind of let me down. That being said, I would say, Lions closely followed by the Vikings, and then the Packers. Yeah,
I got the Lions in that division, but I will say that this is the NFL. And we all know that everybody overreacts to 1 week. There's probably misery in Kansas City right now, and there's probably overjoy and jealous, and we're going to the playoffs in Detroit. Calm down, everybody. It's week 1. Detroit is definitely an up-and-coming team. They got playmakers on both sides of the ball. I think Goff is a good quarterback. I don't know if he's a win a couple games deep in the playoffs type of quarterback, just because of that immobile aspect of his game. I think might hurt them when they face good defenses down the road. But Detroit is definitely a team on the rise and one to watch in the NFC for sure.
And Jameson Williams, he's suspended for the first 6 games. That guy's a difference maker. And I felt like tonight, throughout the game, I kind of felt like the Lions were kind of missing a weapon. Like Marvin Jones, they tried to get the ball to Marvin Jones a couple times, and he's the one who fumbled the ball in the red zone. Marvin Jones is 33 years old. Like he's washed up. I was surprised, but then again, the Jameson Williams suspension comes into mind. It's like that's supposed to be the difference maker out there. They took him in the first round, coming off a torn ACL, but he's flat out dynamic. Like Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams, those are 2 special talents when Jameson Williams gets right. So you got to be patient, but Jared Goff is going to have a big-time weapon coming in some point in the midseason.
Do you think Jameson Williams, he's got that top shelf speed?
Yeah.
And do you think kind of, Goff maybe has kind of that Garoppolo kind of image where he's an intermediate kind of quarterback? Is he going to be able to take advantage of Jameson Williams' speed downfield and throw some deep balls?
More so than Jimmy Garoppolo. More so than Jimmy. I get your vibe. Like, Jared, you're right. He's very accurate in that intermediate range, but I feel like he's got a decent deep ball. I think Jared has a pretty solid deep ball. So with Jameson, I think they're going to scheme up some looks for him to get open on some deep posts. And Jared, I did call him a little bit robotic at times. He throws a pretty ball. So I do think he can take advantage of Jameson Williams.
He did throw some nice deep balls with the Rams to Kupp and some other guys.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Definitely a little bit better.
Robert Woods. Remember Robert Woods?
Robert Woods.
He loved, he kind of.
Yeah.
They love the over routes in these systems. Similar to the Lions, like with off the play action, you got the deep over coming across. And I know we're going to talk Niners, but I think Brock Purdy's really good in that intermediate range too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be definitely getting into some
on the Niners for sure.
Yeah, we definitely get into the Niners. Did we already get that Mark's
No, we haven't read it, but I give him a thumbs up.
Did we get the one that said "Let's go baller"? Did we get that one?
Oh, no, it was the one.
I don't think so.
Just after that, it was this one right here.
Yeah, let's get these. Let's get this one. Let's get them in order here. This is the first one here. Let's go baller. Hold it down for San Francisco. Thank you, Mark Hope. And then he donates another $2. Says I'm from San Francisco and work 50 Fremont Security baller. Let's effing go. And then we got another one from Mark Hope. Hey, Mark, I hope you're not giving us your hope, giving everything from your paycheck.
The tips must have been good tonight, man.
Appreciate it, though, Mark. Love seeing you in the chat here. As always, he says, Dan, Eric Lowe's baller respects. So glad you're on. Yeah, we might be the only show on right now on a Thursday night in the Bay Area. So much 49er content out there.
Oh my gosh.
It's nice to actually kind of break away and talk a little bit about what else is going on in the NFL. Taking a night off from the disastrous Giants. We'll get back to that tomorrow night.
Can I just give you 30 seconds on the Giants? Because I know you guys are big on Giants.
Go for it.
The trade deadline turned me off 100%. How do you not go out and at least get a starting pitcher? I mean, it was so freaking evident this team needed another starting pitcher. Yeah. And I was saying, hey, you know what? Just buy someone cheap. Buy low on someone like a Lance Lynn, who the Dodgers ended up getting for practically nothing. And I know he had a bad start last night, but ever since he went to the Dodger blue, Lance Lynn had been pretty good. And I was tweeting, I'm like, Farhan, just go get a Lynn. Go. You needed an arm. The fact that they did nothing, because I like the Giants. I think 1 through 9, like when they're healthy, they got a good lineup. They got a couple pitchers in Logan Webb, Alex Cobb, where I think they're playoff caliber pitchers, but they needed another arm. They did nothing, and it infuriated me. Now I put them on, and it's just like background music, just like I'm doing other stuff, but I'm not even locked in.
Bad background music.
Pissed off at this front office for not going out and making a move.
Well, you know what? We were advocating sell. We saw what the team was for. Los, even Dan, we were getting on board. Trade the pieces who are not going to be part of the future. Like
you had to do one or the other.
One or the other. You can't stand status quo.
I was of the mindset where if Haniger did come back and he was good, and everything kind of fell into place offensively. I kind of like the pieces when they're all there, but they needed an arm or two if they wanted to be serious.
I agree. That was my point. My point on that was either sell or buy, but don't stand pat, because you were in the top position at the time of the trade deadline on August 1st, the wild card. You were where the Phillies are right now. And so you had basically 2 months to go, and you did nothing. And it's a mess. The whole thing, I'm upset with the whole organization from ownership on down, because I think ownership's holding back the team from doing anything. I put out a tweet today that said something to the effect, I hate LA, but I respect their ownership and their desire to win. 11 straight appearances in the playoffs. You cannot knock that. You can dislike the team, but if you're true to yourself, you have to look and say, man, I would love to be in their shoes as a fan.
I just get pissed off because they got so much freaking talent.
Yep.
They get Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, big name pitchers rolling in, feels like every year. And you're right. Yeah. I mean, it infuriates me, and that's why I'm nervous. Like, is that a legitimate landing spot for Shohei? I feel like the Giants are going to be in the mix, but I mean, if I'm Shohei and my goal is to win, right? I got to be honest.
Yep.
If they're offering the same amount of money, what team do I think has a better chance of winning?
Exactly.
Giants better be offering a good 10 to 15 million annually more than the Dodgers, because that's what it's going to take. If it's within 5 million, it's like, why would you? You're that rich. Who wants to go home every October and watch other teams? With 40,000 plus screaming fans and just the tension, the excitement of that. There's nothing like watching playoff baseball. I mean, of course, Game 7 of a hockey series is awesome too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of great moments, but I mean, I actually think playoff hockey and the playoffs in baseball, and then you get into some of the NBA playoff games. I like them even more than the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl seems just to me like a anticlimactic game at times, because all the 70,000 people, there's about 50 of them that don't even care who wins. They're just there on some corporate deals.
Good
and
point.
They're not even true fans, And,
and it's hit or miss. How many Super Bowls are blowouts, or just games where it's not close.
But there's not viewer, that, even though like the Super Bowl, the tension, the excitement, even tonight, just watching the Chiefs I mean, in a close game, when I've gone to football games, in a tight game, I feel like my heart's going to jump out of my chest sometimes, because I'm so nervous watching the game and the feel of it.
Whole different vibe.
Yeah. You just don't even get that in regular season baseball with the Giants. I mean, playoffs, it's awesome. Each pitch, you don't know, like, oh my goodness, they're up 2-1. It's the 9th inning. They got a man on base, one swing of the bat, and you could be walking home, with a walk-off. And it's so tense every pitch, because you don't know what could happen. So, it's nice to see the NFL back because, and college football's back.
It's just good to see football being played.
Yeah.
This has been such a long off season with
It
all
has
the
been.
drama. Jesus Christ, between Lance and Bosa's holdout. And
oh yeah, didn't it
going
feel
on
like
with Shanahan, and just it's good to actually see games being played now.
Yeah,
Hey, real quick, Dan, we got 2 more donations from Mark.
Yeah,
he says, Dan, congrats. Yeah.
Got the dough, unlike MF, laughing out loud. Yeah,
And
MF used to be dropping. He's got another one that says,
it's right there.
Dan, congrats on best show on tonight, any channel. Hey, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Let's get into the Niners.
Yeah, let's get into the Niners. Hey, one thing I want to throw out to you guys and get your thought on this before I forget. Chris Jones holding out. Somebody on Twitter, I wanted to pull it up and I couldn't find it. Somebody said, making a suggestion that the Niners, this is their window. They created cap room. I'm so used to calling Gabe Krappler. They've created $23 million in cap. They may need another 5 or 7 more to bring in a Chris Jones, but would you do that? Would you give up a 1 and maybe you can get rid of Kinlaw on a 1 for Chris Jones? Would you go after Chris Jones?
Can I pose something, guys? I was going to ask something very similar, especially to Los and Dan. You guys are money guys. Do you think that this? Don't get me wrong, Bosa's a great sign. But what about the years and the money? Does that handicap the team in the future? Because I know we talk about with baseball contracts, you don't want to handicap the team to the point to where you can't do anything in the future. Did this happen with the Niners by signing Bosa? And if you're talking about trying to get another guy, I mean, you're going to have a badass defense, but what about the other pieces that you're going to have for next year and beyond?
I mean, I personally think money's coming off the books soon. I think Trent Williams, good chance he retires after this year. I think Armstead might be his last year on the team. I wouldn't be surprised if Kittle, Juice. I mean, that's like $42 million right there. Okay. So in the economics of sports, like you have to add and subtract, and Bosa's only 25. I mean, it is a large amount of money, but I'm always of the opinion of playing superstar players. I think you guys know me well enough. I do not like paying average players. That's why I flipped my lid when Jimmy G got paid what he did. I went absolutely berserk on that one. But no, I mean, I don't think it's going to restrict him too much because I think money is coming off the books and they needed to lock him up, especially after the fiasco with trading Lance. Can you imagine trading Bosa? This fan base would have revolted.
And Spencer brings up a good point because I guess you can restructure people's I guess because that's what happened with Kittle, right? Yeah.
They got a mastermind to do that. What do you think, Baller?
Yeah, that was really good. Those were really good points. I would say the Bosa contract, he got paid fairly. It was a fair contract, $34 million a year, just a tick over Aaron Donald like that. That's the market for a superstar defensive end. And you'll probably see a guy like Parsons, who's going to be due next year, probably get paid like a couple mil more because it's only going one way. It's only going up. And the salary cap also is going up. So, it's a big contract, especially, for a non-quarterback, but that's the going rate for a superstar defensive end. So I'm glad they did it. I thought Bosa was going to squeeze him for more, maybe 35, maybe 36 mil a year, possibly 100% of his contract guaranteed. That was in the back of my mind. And he got a huge chunk of it is guaranteed, like over 120 mil. He did get guaranteed, but I was wondering if this holdout was because he wanted that 100% guarantee. Anyway, the contract is signed, and I think it's a good deal for the Niners.
What do you think, Baller? If I saw something on Pat McAfee today, and he was talking with Adam Scheffler, and that the deal was this morning or yesterday morning, Scheffler had gone on and reported that they're far apart. And it doesn't look good. And then within minutes, less than an hour, the deal is signed. And they think that Nick, let me see if I can find it, and we'll play it on here from Twitter. It was pretty interesting because it was almost like they said Bosa was like, hey, I want to be with my guys. That's good enough. Sign the deal is what they're giving credit to. Could have been the agent trying to hold out for too much. But while I look for that, I'm going to bring in our baseball analyst and football guru from the NorCal Sports Network draft, his team 2004, because he's still 18, but he's legal to be on the show. He's 18.
Yep.
Hey, Bora, when do you turn 19? This year, right? October. Yeah. Okay, so maybe coincide with Jocktober? No Jocktober this year, right?
No way, not happening.
All right. Hey, let me from way up in your diagonal corner there. That's Bay Area Baller. He's got one of the best channels out there. I don't know if you've seen his football channel, but he's got. Tell us, Eric, about the breakdown that you do. It's called the All 22, I believe.
Yeah, I've put out some All 22 videos. Kind of analyzing players. A lot of quarterback stuff. Because when it comes down to it, in my mind, I love talking ball as we're doing right now, but it also goes back to the film. What's happening on the field? So I like kind of analyzing that, and absolutely talk a lot of 49ers, some Warriors. Occasionally I like to sprinkle in the Giants because I do like, my black and orange. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun. My channel's right here, same as my name right here, Bay Area Baller.
I was just going to put that up.
I got it in the description. I put it in the description. Check out the description in this video. I got your Twitter in there, Bay Area Baller 18, and I also got your YouTube hyperlinked. You're good to go.
A Baller and me think alike. There's nothing more that I enjoy watching film and All 22 to see the angle up top and to be able to see the whole field, to see what quarterbacks are missing, what they're not looking at. Coverages, everything.
Yes.
He breaks down how you analyze the game. That's when, after about a year or two watching Garoppolo and watching All 22, I was under the impression that he was not going to be the guy for us moving forward.
Yeah, you see a lot from up high. When I was in the press box at Cal, and my brother played at Cal, I used to do some spotting for Joe Starkey, the announcer, and you can just see the up on from when the play starts, you could see, man, sometimes the quarterback is just not even looking at that one particular read. He's got his eyes focused on one only. And if he would just have scanned the field, and I think that's where when we get into the 49ers, I think that's where Purdy had the advantage over, obviously, with Trey Lance, his ability with 4 years of experience at Iowa, playing all those games, the processing time. And I think that's where Kyle comes in and says, what was the quote? He says he's got it, or he's got the right.
The real deal.
Real deal. I think for Kyle's system, he's the real deal.
Baller, I know you saw this many times because I did. I would see Ayuk run a post route and beat his man by 4, 6, 8 yards. And have his hand up like Jerry used to do back in the day. And Jimmy would dump it off. Yeah. And I would watch Ayuk's body language. He would throw his hands down and get pissed off. And I was saying, there is nobody happier that man is gone more than Ayuk, because how frustrating is it for a wide receiver to consistently get open and the quarterback does not get you the ball? And there lies the problem with Jimmy not being able to stretch the defense. Whether Purdy can do that remains to be seen. I think he has a decent enough arm. I've seen him make throws at Iowa State. He doesn't have a cannon, but I think he can get it downfield, and I think he will get it downfield a lot more.
And what I'll say is the biggest plus, I think, going from Jimmy to now Brock Purdy is the fact that Brock is a playmaker. He makes these off-schedule plays where he'll creep out the back door, roll left, hit someone on the run. Like, Brock is a playmaker. Jimmy, not so much. Jimmy's feet, it always looked like to me he was playing in mud.
Yes.
Playing in cement. Like, he just had heavy feet, and I think that's also, that come more post ACL. I don't, maybe not, but Brock's a playmaker. Jimmy's not. And Brock, I think his arm is good enough. You know, he was just so freaking accurate in the intermediate part of the field. Like, he's not going to hit a 60-yard bomb. But the thing is like, and I'm not making the comparison, but Drew Brees didn't have a strong arm. And when you don't have that strong of an arm, how do you kind of make up for that? When someone's running a deep post or a go ball, you just got to get the ball out a little bit earlier. You know, get it out a little earlier so your wide receiver isn't already, 30 yards down the field when you're trying to pull the trigger. Start it maybe when he's 15, 20 yards, and your receiver can then still run full speed, run under it. So I think Brock, while he doesn't have a cannon, he's going to make this thing work. And I just love how Brock's just such a freaking playmaker.
Yeah, Brock has the mentality too. Jimmy didn't really have that mentality ever since he missed Sanders in the Super Bowl. He has the arm. Jimmy has the arm, but he just never really tried it. Brock
didn't have the confidence.
Yeah, he didn't have the confidence. Brock doesn't have the arm that Jimmy has. In my opinion, he might have a little weaker of an arm. He still has a good enough arm, but he's willing to take those shots down the field.
And to add to Baller's point, the thing about Purdy is, with so many weapons at your disposal that he has, one little movement, whether it's stepping a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right to avoid a rush and keeping his eyes downfield, is going to get guys open. And that's what a lot of us saw in him, is he just makes those simple plays when he has a rush around him. He's not gonna be Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields running for 30, 40 yards at a pop. But like to my point earlier with Goff, 4th and 2, don't stubbornly be a robot and throw the ball when the guy just has to step up. These linemen are big, man. It doesn't take much for them to step up and knock the ball down. 4th down, turnover. You step up, run 5 yards, slide, first down, move the chains. And that's what Purdy can do. Yeah,
let's watch this clip from the Pat McAfee show today regarding Nick Bosa with Adam Scheffler on, and want to then ask some questions with Bosa signed in this newfound cap money with the restructuring of deals. What do you think the Giants, the 49ers, should do with that money? Should they go for it this year and bring in some changes before the trade deadline, or should they roll it over the cap space that they have gained into next year? So let's watch this real quick. This was from this morning, and it gives us an idea what's happening or what happened in the deal here.
This deal come out of nowhere, and who gave, you think, to get this thing done?
Well, here's what happened. Essentially, in the morning, both sides thought that they were a ways away, far apart from getting a deal done. The exact language that was used to me was huge gaps between the two sides. And the Niners have been despondent of this particular negotiation and very concerned about the way it was going. And they really believe that Nick Bosa wasn't going to make it back in time for the game on Sunday at Pittsburgh. And so Kyle Shanahan was getting ready to meet the media, and they had their vice president of media relations, Corey Rush, in there debriefing him, saying some of the things that he should be answering about the Nick Bosa situation. Now, nothing different to tell you guys. Very sorry. Wish we had him. And then literally the news drops. It's on Twitter. There it is. Nick Bosa, new deal, gets the deal done. And so the Niners find out. And I think what happened here is ultimately the two sides can negotiate all they want. They can feel they're far apart all they want. But I think in the end, Nick Bosa has to say, I want to be there for my team. It's important for me to be there with my guys. We've taken this far enough. Let's go and get this done. And I think he gives the directive in the end, hey, I'm taking this deal. It's a record deal. I'm the richest defensive player in NFL history, richest non-quarterback deal in NFL history, right?
Yes. So just like TJ Watt, who kicked in the door to get the deal done, Nick Bosa said, hey, Suits, listen, I appreciate where you've gotten me. $34 million a year is good. I'm going back with my teammates. I got 4 sacks to give this weekend. They assume he's in great shape, ready to go, right?
I'll take it from here. That's exactly what Nick Bosa said. And yes, that's a guy that works out so much that they feel like he's in better shape than he would be if he were at training camp. And Kyle Shanahan said the only way he doesn't play is if he showed up there this morning with a beer belly, which isn't happening, as we know.
Would be sweet, though.
Yeah.
That would be sweet. He signed for $122.5 million guarantee. All right, sorry, James Harden and I just got to get back into shape here. Last question for me. Congrats to the Niners and the Bosa getting that deal done. That's a huge thing.
All right, there you have it. Love McAfee show. Pretty cool. I mean,
did you see the clip of Bosa in training or in practice today?
Yeah, he's chiseled.
His legs are like redwoods, man. Oh my!
They always
God.
are. That's not going to change. What made me kind of laugh listening to the last few days from so many different commentators was, oh, the Bosas are all about their money. They're not going to not hold out unless they get max money. And I'm thinking to myself, isn't that every damn player in
Pretty
professional sports?
Yeah.
Like Tom Brady's about the only dude I know on record that could have gotten max money, but didn't because he wanted his other boys to be paid.
He was a team
Look how many rings he has because of that. So when I hear, oh, the Bosas and their agent are all about getting max money, no shit, man. Every player does. So,
yeah.
Hey, like I said, superstars get paid. He's a superstar, and let's go.
I love McAfee's line. When I didn't catch it this morning, but I heard it again. Now I caught it when he says, when Bosa's like, "Hey, suits." In other words, all you executive types, I'm playing. I'm signing. Good enough for me. Let's go. You know that probably took place because he's probably tired of just sitting. You know, these guys are chomping. They want their money, but you know he had $34 million with a year for 5 years with 122 guaranteed. That's sweet. I mean, that's a sweet deal. What do you guys think? I'll start with you, Baller. What do you think the Niners should do with that extra cap space that they have? Who do you got in mind? Anybody, or do you wait to see what happens with injuries?
It's a mid-season trade acquisition. You know, this team, this front office, they've done it before, right? Emmanuel Sanders, Christian McCaffrey, Charles Omenihu, Jordan Willis. Like they do it almost like it's like a routine basis now. So I'm edge would be the one position where if you can get an edge, because I got some questions opposite Bosa. I got some questions. Drake. I think Drake has potential. He's got good bend, but I got to see it. I got to see it with Drake. Cleveland Farrell, I thought looked pretty good in the preseason. Like I'm optimistic about Farrell. Austin Bryant, I think I'm higher on Austin Bryant than I think most other 49ers fans I talk to. I think Bryant's can possibly be a contributor on third down, like in pass rushing situations. But I'm thinking, maybe edge, but mid-season, because then you're not paying the full season of their contract, right? The other team has been playing their game checks. So
when's the trade deadline? Sometime in late October?
I'd have to get on Google.
Yeah,
who do you like? I see in the chat, Jimmy puts up Brian Burns. He might be a guy.
I mean, Brian Burns is big time. I think the Panthers are going to pay him. Like, I don't think Burns is going anywhere.
They're not going to let him go. I kind of was hoping they'd bring Jordan Willis back. I like him more than Kerry Hyder Jr. Kerry Hyder Jr. had his one good year with the Niners, 9.5 sacks, went to Seattle, flamed out, came back here, had 1 sack last year. 1 sack. And
I'm with you.
The Niners, they like keeping players that are I don't know, not really productive. A couple of their tight ends I was hoping would be gone, and they're still around. But Kerry Hyder's a guy that, and even Austin Bryant, I think you might be a little bit higher on him, but yeah, he may be good. He was dominant at Clemson. But I'd like to see Jordan Willis come back. That guy made plays when he was here. He'd be a nice rotation piece.
Just looked it up. It's trade deadline October
Halloween
31st. So that is generally right around week 8, roughly.
Trick or treat.
Why did I hear a rumor about the Niners going after Jonathan Taylor? Like that
I think that was Larry put that out. Just a little.
I saw it on
thing.
something else.
I don't see that fit.
That didn't make sense because like CMC is too dominant to be splitting 50-50 carries with Jonathan Taylor.
Well, I think Jonathan Taylor would make more sense than Chris Jones. I mean, that's because you got Vernon Hargrave, who you just brought in. You got Eric Armstead, who's he's a good player, being paid a lot of money. So you can't. That'd be too expensive of a defensive tackle rotation if you also brought in Chris Jones. So I don't think I meant to comment on that one earlier, Dan, when you mentioned it. Chris Jones, I'm not buying into that at all. Great player, but I don't see
that was not my deal. That was somebody on Twitter who put that out. I was just throwing it out there. I didn't. It's not my creation at all. I think you got to wait to play it out, see how things go, see where your needs are after 6 weeks. 6 weeks into the season, you're now in mid-October. You got 2 weeks before the deadline. You should have an idea, hey, we've either had a hole here because we got a player that we got to put on IR. He's out for the year. Or we've got a hole here, like you mentioned, opposite Bosa could be, that hole. And then you say, okay, we got to fill it. Let's go. Let's go for it. Because obviously the Niners did that restructuring with this year in mind. I think that it feels like a team that it's almost like win or bust. I mean, it's really.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It's Super Bowl or bust for sure. It's the most talented roster in the league.
Hey, he has a good point here. I read this earlier too on Twitter. It says, you guys see where the Niners didn't return DeAndre Hopkins' phone call about coming to the team.
About 5 teams didn't return his phone call.
Oh, really? He said he's mad about
just the Niners. Yeah. There may be something there with him that's going on.
Personal something.
I got 2 guys for mid-trade acquisitions on the defensive end side. One, Montez Sweat. He hasn't signed his contract extension. And the Commanders, their defense is really good. Their defensive line is stacked. And I can see if they're not really in it, trading him away, because I don't know if they have the money to resign him. The next guy is Danielle Hunter. I think he just signed a 1-year deal with the Vikings. I think if the Vikings are in it, they're not going to move him. They're going to go for it. But I think there's a possibility that they might be okay with trading him for like a 3rd or 4th. I don't know. That might be too much, but if they're out of the race in the North.
No, I would definitely do that. I'd give up a 3rd for Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter's big time. And I was monitoring that, early in the off season because he was disgruntled about his contract. Yep. And I was thinking, can the Niners make a play for him? And then you're right. Yeah. You got to figure what teams are out of the race, right? That's what you got to see first and foremost, because teams aren't going to trade, blue chip or good players when they're in the playoff mix, I would say. Right. So you got to see who's bad, who's out of it. Do they have a guy at a position that could help us out? But hey, Montez Sweat, Danielle Hunter, those are really good freaking players, and I would definitely be interested.
And that's who I would want to trade for. Because this year is all in. This is basically Super Bowl or bust. I think we can all agree with that. If they're gonna make a trade, I want them to trade for a big time player. I want them to really go all in, because I think this year they have like $23 million in cap space. I think I read that somewhere. So they have a good amount of money. And to me, it doesn't really make any sense to try to roll that money over to next year if you're really wanting to go in all this year.
I definitely want to see how the season plays out, because Mooney Ward already has a heel issue. Hufanga is probably going to play, but he has a knee issue. So, I'm just trying to say what could happen. Like if one of those guys goes out, then you don't need another defensive end. You're going to need a corner, or you're going to need a safety. So I'm completely with Baller on that one. Let the season play out. Injuries happen. We sure as hell know that with this team. And wherever the injuries happen, now they have some cap space to trade for a player. Like you said, Bor, 5-6 weeks into the season, there may be a team that's 1-5 that's already willing to give away players. But right now, everybody thinks they can win. Well, not everybody. Kansas City's on one. So yeah, I'd let the season play out. Let's see who stays healthy and who's doing well. And the roster is going to change as it goes.
I think you brought up a great point with Mooney Ward and that heel injury, because I am a bit concerned. And fellas, I don't know how deep you want to dive into this Niners-Steelers matchup, but you made me think of one matchup that I'm going to be watching, and it's George Pickens, the Steelers wide receiver, going up against these DBs. Because one thing I noticed with Pickett last year, he loved throwing 50-50 balls deep down the field to George Pickens. Pickens is, a big athletic guy who can come up with these 50-50 balls. So if the Niners, and I anticipate they're probably going to kind of load the box a little bit, where they might leave these one-on-one matchups outside with Pickens on Demo or Pickens on Ward. So and that is something, the deep ball from Pickett to Pickens against these DBs is something I'm watching, because if you give up a couple, 40-yard bombs on third down or what, those ones are stingers. So that's one matchup.
And the Steelers are smart. If they are going to do that, they're going to match up Pickens on Lenore, because Lenore's what?
Yeah, that's
5'10".
Specifically that's the one I'm worried about.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
Mooney's a big corner. So
Mooney's a big corner, but he doesn't really have those ball skills that you want, right?
He doesn't turn around sometimes.
He doesn't really turn around. The only person in the secondary that has those ball skills are the safeties, right? Gibson and Hufanga. So I mean, that's a really interesting matchup.
Well, one thing I'm very interested to see, whether Bosa is here or not, is this defensive coordinator has a history of blitzing a little bit more than we've been used to. We have been accustomed to, in the last 5 or 6 years, of just having a dominant front four, rushing 4, dropping 7 all the time, which is great. That's really the way to do it. But I've always thought that the element of surprise, like, coaches are smart on the other side too. You need to know that you can't just do the same thing over and over. I don't care if you have a 102-mile-an-hour fastball. If you throw it every pitch, they're gonna time it. They're gonna hit it. Same thing with football. If they know, the Niners never blitz, they're just going to rush 4. They're going to play their zone defense, and here's the pockets. You need to, as a coach, both sides of the ball, be able to do different things. That's how you win games. That's the difference between winning and losing. So, me personally, I love a defensive coordinator that's aggressive. I would love to see Greenlaw and Warner, as fast and the physical as they are, to shoot the gaps. I'm not saying every down, but don't wait on third down to do it too. Sometimes 2nd and 10 is like an important down, because like they pick up that 6 or 7 yards. It's short and manageable. Right. Like, bring a blitz on 2nd and 10, get a sack, and now make it 3rd and 18. So I'm real curious, Baller, to see what Wilkes can do with all these pieces now in play with Bosa here.
And it's a fine line. I agree with you that, D'Amico, Rob Saleh, they relied on that front four, and Wilkes, especially like the last preseason game, they were really working on that blitz. Wilkes was definitely bringing some heat. But the thing about rushing the 4, fellas, is that's what gave them like that bend but don't break defense. Like, they weren't giving up touchdowns. Right? Everything was being kept in front of them. So when you start blitzing, you can get that a sack, which is nice, but it also leaves probably pretty much everybody one-on-one.
Yeah, naked corners.
And the corner position is probably the toughest in the NFL, in my opinion, just guarding these super athletic wide receivers. Like, you have to react to them, and just on an island, I think it's a tough ask. So it's going to be interesting to watch, because I agree. I think Wilkes is going to blitz a little more, and we'll have to see, hey, how's this going to play out?
Yeah. What do you guys think on how many reps plays do you think Bosa gets in? Does he play more than 50% of the snaps or less?
More.
I'd say more.
Yeah.
More. I think he'll play probably close to his normal snap count. I would say I'd have to pull up, what he did last year, but I would say probably like 80% of the snaps he gave you last year on average. Give him 80% of that.
80% of 80. What he did, he played 80% snaps, so 80. So okay, yeah. I think it's going to be interesting to see, because I was watching some film of him today. He's just out there, doing football workout moves. But you can practice all you want on your own, get training, do the drills, hit the dummies, whatever. But until you put on those pads for the first time, it's even though you've played, it's still a weird feeling. The first, I always hated, the first week of practice because, once we got the pads on, man, you were sore for days after you started.
Was the forward pass implemented back then?
Hey!
Was like just.
He's got to.
I had to get you at least once. I had to get you at least once.
Yeah, that was a zing, man. I
got
like
a leather helmet behind him.
That one was a good one, Baller. The crowd is loving that one.
And it was so nonchalant, too.
I'm gonna have
exactly. That was great.
He worked that one in there nice, man. He worked in there that nice. Hey, when's your birthday, Eric? By the way, Baller.
Oh, I'm in June.
June.
I'm a Gemini.
We could sing the happy birthday belated to you if you like.
Oh no.
No, I'm good.
Come on.
Yeah. Good answer, Baller. Good answer.
I'm all right.
You haven't heard our birthday. You haven't heard our birthday song, huh?
Yeah.
It's
no.
Too much time.
Sounds like Eric. I'm sticking with Eric. Eric's warned me.
You're good.
You don't want that. All right.
So let me ask
the
everybody.
Forward pass. I like this, man. The forward pass. Was that? Yes.
So I want to hear everybody's opinion on this Robert Griffin comment that came out about Shanahan.
Thank you, Mark.
If everybody in the chat doesn't know, Robert Griffin III came out and said that Kyle Shanahan is a control freak. He has to have everything go his way. And I told Dan off air that players that don't play for Shanahan can say that. Jimmy's kind of started to in a nonchalant way say kind of similar things. Purdy can't say that because he plays for him. Maybe if Trey Lance stops being a mute, he'll come out and say something as well. But the point I'm trying to say is I've always thought that Shanahan was kind of like that. And great coaches need to be control freaks to a point. But I also think great coaches allow their quarterback to audible, adapt, and make plays on their own. When you control too much, I don't necessarily know if that's a great thing. And to take it even a step further, is that the reason why Shanahan didn't want to scout Mahomes? Because does he want like a quarterback that'll just do everything he says, no questions asked, so his system will get the credit? Because a superstar quarterback, and that's, hey, think about it. Brady and Shanahan probably can't mix, because Brady's gonna be like, hey man, I got 7 of these, dog. If I see something, I'm changing the play. And Shanahan being like, no man, call my play. Like, this is my system. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but at the same time, I think there's something there where he is a little bit of a control freak, and I hope he adapts to that and changes, because I think giving a smart quarterback like Purdy a little bit free reign is a good thing for the team.
I do think every coach, to a certain extent, is a control freak. I mean, Bill Walsh was a mastermind. I mean, he had his plays scripted. He was the inventor of kind of the scripted first 25 plays, and you didn't want to screw with Bill Walsh.
The first 20 plays for sure, but he did let Joe and Steve audible.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Jimmy audible at times? You got to have that.
Well, sometimes they go into the huddle, or they go up to the line of scrimmage with 2 plays. That's as close as they get from what I've heard, from what I know. They'll have 2 plays. Usually it's a run and a pass, where, that's where you see like a can, and they'll go to the second play. So I think that's as far as they go. But like Los is saying, there's not just free reign. Purdy can't just look right and tell Debo and signal and change the route from what I know. And you're right, Los. Shanahan is a control freak. From what I've heard, Shanahan, tells the quarterback where to go with the ball. Now, how often? Maybe not 100% of the time, but hey, this play, we're, here, look here. Whereas, hey, maybe the defense does switch it up and all of a sudden that route is no longer open. So that being said, Shanahan, really good offensive mind. I think he's got to get over the hump. And you talked about kind of the lack of aggression. That's probably my biggest criticism of him is sometimes in these situations, it feels like he kind of tenses up and does something conservative where it feels like, it's 4th and 2, maybe you're at the 40, the 45-yard line. It's like, okay, go for it. But no, he's bringing out Mitch, for a punt.
Well, you look at tonight's game, for example. What was their Chiefs 2 minutes 7 seconds? That last play kind of that they went for it on 4th and 25. Kyle definitely would have punted there. But Andy Reid figured, well, I got the ball. I've got a slim chance of getting the first down. But if I don't, I can stop them I got my 3 timeouts. They kick a field goal. I still can march down and get a touchdown and win the game. I thought it was a smart move. I thought the mistake they made, the play didn't work out that well for them. The last play, they got flushed out of the pocket, and then the long pass made the clock go from 2:07 or whatever it was, 2:07 or 2:09, all the way down to the 2-minute warning. Had it ended at 2:01, they would have had their 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning.
But did that wide receiver have a chance at making that catch? Was that the throw to Sky Moore where it was like kind of in the vicinity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was close. It was
close.
I'm pretty sure it hit his hands.
I think it did.
Yeah.
It was almost a pass interference too. I was worried they were going to call it, but had he been able to throw it quicker and not have to, move out of the pocket and escape and then throw it, he would have had 1 or 2 seconds left before the 2-minute warning. Then all the Chiefs would have had to do was stop the Lions from getting the first down, because they got it. Did they get it on 3rd down or 4th down? The Lions, I think
it was 3rd.
Okay, they had to stop him, but had they stopped him on downs, made him kick a field goal or just try and I think what's his name? I don't know if he would have kicked the field goal or if he would have just went for it. He would have kicked the field goal. Yeah, because if they had stopped him on downs, Chiefs still would have had 1 timeout, down 6. And, we've seen Mahomes score in 15 seconds again in the AFC Championship against Buffalo.
Yep.
So
it's analytics. It's analytics in football. Analytics told them to go for that. That's how.
No, we don't want to hear that on this channel. We don't want to hear that.
I don't think.
I know. Analytics. Yeah, it's gone way overboard with the Giants.
Right.
I do want to talk about analytics in the sense that since we're talking about Shanahan, he rarely goes for it on 4th down unless he's usually closer to the opponent's 40-yard line. And it's usually only if it's like less than 4th and 2. If he's near the 50 and it's 4th and 2, he's punting. 4th and 1, he's punting.
So that's the interesting thing about him. For a guy that's so offensive minded and X's and O's, and I can get somebody open, he really is naturally a conservative guy.
He relies on his defense.
It's like a conflict.
Hey,
but relying on his defense has let him down in big games. So has he learned his lesson? Why not just go for the jugular and just? Why do you think I love Bill Walsh so much? His big games were knockouts. They were not split decisions, go down to the wire. He knocked you out. It was 27-3 at halftime. That's how Shanahan has got to be.
Hey.
And Kittle is questionable for the game. So, that's Purdy's kind of safety valve guy.
So
yeah, I hope he plays, bro. I hope he plays.
To your question, you're talking about, Shanahan being a control freak. One of the most important relationships that needs to happen on that field is between quarterback and head coach, correct? That's probably the key relationship on a football field is that. So as a head coach, you need to start putting some trust into your quarterback to be able to make that. So if that trust isn't there, Shanahan may or may not give that leash to a quarterback. But see, I don't know. Can a quarterback ever earn Shanahan's trust? Or is he that much of a megalomaniac to where he's got to control every aspect of the game to where he cannot allow the quarterback to go up there and say, you know what? The quarterback very well could have the ability to do what needs to be done and actually do something good without the benefit of Shanahan's play call.
I think that's why he likes Purdy, because Purdy has the ability, if the play breaks down, Purdy has the ability to escape and make something happen, where I don't think he trusted Trey. I don't think he trusted Jimmy, because those guys, as was alluded to earlier by Baller, got his feet stuck in the mud. And Trey just didn't have the experience of scanning the field quickly enough, where Purdy, the one area that could get Purdy into trouble is if he starts doing that wildly and starts throwing balls up into the air, thinking he's going to make a play, and the ball is hanging too long. NFL defenses will. I mean, he has a history of a lot of picks in college.
He had a few that dropped last year too.
Yeah,
he had a few that were dropped. Some bad throws, maybe some bad decisions that ended up hitting the ground. So you kind of let him pass by. You kind of forget about him. But it's something to monitor, because he's a playmaker, but he does try to squeeze in some balls into some tight windows.
Tries to thread that needle. Senior softball says he trusted Matt Ryan when he was with Atlanta.
Shanahan's also got to understand what defenses he's playing week to week. Sometimes, going back to me and Baller's point earlier, you just kind of robotically just put out plays and thinking, they're going to work. But, the Eagles had a great pass rush, and guess what? So do the Steelers. TJ Watt's coming on that right side against Colton Pivots. If you don't game plan and chip him, that's going to be a long day. You have to know who you're playing and not be so arrogant to think my offense can work against anybody.
Right.
Play action works against defenses that don't rush the passer very well. Teams that have great pass rushes, you have a second to a second and a half less time. Play action takes too much time. Get it in shotgun, let Purdy see the field, and get rid of the damn ball. That's what I'm going to be looking for. Hey, Pittsburgh's got a good
with TJ Watt. You mentioned crashing from his side. Do you foresee any naked bootlegs in this game Sunday, where they let him crash in and fake handoff, and Purdy's rolling out to the whatever opposite side that Watt's on, and rolling out and hitting, he's got receivers going across on slants across that side, hitting Debo underneath, maybe Ayuk or maybe even Ray McLeod if he's active, heading toward the deep post. I mean, I could see that play. That was one of the plays that when you have a guy that is crashing in, depends on if they're crashing in, if they're taking the inside move a lot on McKivitz, or if he's trying to come from the outside. You can't do it if he's coming from the outside, because
that's where you got to scout the player. You got to scout the player, right, Dan? Because Hassan Reddick, let me tell you something. On the play where he injured Brock Purdy, it was a play action. Hassan Reddick had zero interest in playing the run. He went
bingo.
Yeah. He just made an A-line right
bingo
to Brock Purdy. So you got it. It's something, maybe you run a couple plays and see how Watt's playing it. And if he is crashing in on the running back, maybe you can get away with it. but I don't like the idea of turning TJ Watt loose. I don't like the thought of turning him loose. They are going to move the quarterback, but what I'm expecting offensively is a lot of quick game. We're going to get some bubble screens, tunnel screens, slants, maybe some posts, but I think there's going to be a lot of quick hitters, and the game might come down to, how well the Steelers tackle in those situations. Are the Yak boys going to go off? There's Debo and Ayuk, Kittle if he plays. Are they getting yards after the catch, or
what's up with Kittle? Is it still the growing muscle, the abductor?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Dang.
I think he's going to play. But he's not going to be 100%.
Yeah. What's up with you mentioned the play by Hassan Reddick that ended the playoffs in the Niners season, and
it was a play action
for
play.
Purdy. Do you see Purdy this year being more aware of that, and when necessary, just fall into the ground? Just take the loss. Don't try and make something of a play and turn it into a something more negative. What do you think?
I think the one slight knock on him is that he likes to go side to side more than step up. Now, if defensive tackles are right in your face, you can't step up. But I have seen times where he could step up. The defensive lineman goes right past him, and he can make the throw. So
that's a good point, though.
I'm sure he works on that in camp. And
that's one of the issues with a smaller quarterback is when they step up, they lose the field vision.
Yeah.
And a guy like Josh Allen, he could step up and just fire right over the top.
Hey, speaking of stepping up, hey, chat, hit that like button. We got 50 in the chat. Make sure you hit that like, and if you haven't subscribed.
Two plays that old school plays that have always worked, and they still work if you do them the right way against a good pass rush, is a draw play to a running back and a screen to the running back. Like the Niners are great at screens to their wide receivers, and maybe with McCaffrey there now for a full season, because before McCaffrey came, did you see Shanahan run a lot of screens to the running back? It is a great
Roger
play.
Craig days.
You're right.
It is a great play.
That's what I was thinking too, Roger.
To let the
Roger
rush
Craig.
come in and don't fire it into the line, like me and Baller's saying, where it gets knocked down. Touch it over the line, get it to the running back with blockers in front. That play has worked for 50, 60, 70 years.
Hey, that was even after my time too. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Roger Craig made a living on screen.
Yeah, he did. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Shanahan used to call a lot more when he was with the Falcons, with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. When they would catch balls. As a fantasy player, you remember who's. But yeah, when he went to the Niners, he kind of went away from that. He didn't call. He would still mix them in, but not to the degree where some of these other coaches, where you see, Sean Payton's notorious for, calling screen passes, or at least he used to be.
Shanahan can do so many things with this. Can you imagine if he had McCaffrey and Debo in the backfield together? McCaffrey goes that way, the defense goes with him, and they drop back. The play that they scored Kittle on a touchdown with against Seattle, where you fake left, fake right
down the middle,
wide open over the middle. That's beautiful play calling. But I would like to see Debo. He gets a lot of screens from the wide receiver position, and he does well with them. Can you imagine him at running back and they give him a screen with space to go?
I think this year is going to be very interesting with a full year of Debo and McCaffrey together. Debo slimmed down, looking more like Debo of 21, and McCaffrey knowing this offense so much better. There was a guy, he went number one last night, Baller, in our fantasy league with Sean Proctor. There's a guy that I saw on Twitter who thinks that the reign of, his sleeper pick for the MVP of the league this year is Christian McCaffrey. It's gone generally to a quarterback almost every year. but that could be interesting. I mean, he could put up some.
That's not very
numbers.
bold. Not very bold.
MVP of the league, though.
Okay, NFL MVP.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought MVP of fantasy football.
No.
I don't know why.
Of the NFL.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little more impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. Hey, if that happens, that means the Niners are going to be the number 1 seed.
When was the last time a running back won MVP of the league?
Adrian Peterson.
Was it?
That'd be a good guess. But think about that.
Boy, go get your Switch.
Don't Google it either. Come on, man.
I'm Googling
use this.
I think it's going to be fascinating season because the key to any NFL team in the season is health. But Niners got to stay. I mean, their stars can't miss too many games. The guys are going to miss games, but you don't want to be sitting out, being out for the year. So I'm looking forward to this season. Let's go with predictions. We got about 10 minutes before we close this out. Let's go around the room. Let's give us your Super Bowl predictions. See if we can get who's going to get the 6 playoff teams in each conference, and who's going to meet up in the Super Bowl. Who's going to win it? Let's go with who you want to start first, Eric, or you?
I'll tell you what. I'll defer. Go
okay.
for it, Baller. Go for
it, Baller. We'll go around this way, and we'll come around.
Well, when you say Eric, my first name is
I know.
Eric.
Same here.
And what I like is the spelling is correct, ERIC, because when you see that CK or a K, you got to kind of might have to be nervous about those Erics.
Yeah.
But, I'm going San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl against, you know what? After tonight, man, probably before tonight, I probably would have picked the Chiefs, but just from what I saw tonight, it might be recency bias. I'll make a pivot. Well,
that's right.
Cincinnati.
It is 17 teams. It is
Cincinnati
17 teams. That's right. Thank you, Eddie. 7
representing
teams.
the AFC, and I'm saying the San Francisco 49ers will defeat the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl. You heard it here. Because why not, fellas? This is the year. We've said it multiple times.
Let's take it a little. Let's take it a little deeper. Give us your 4 division winners in each conference, and then the 3 wild cards. If you just see how many you get out of the 7.
You're really gonna make it.
Okay, let me.
I got work, Dan.
So I'm gonna start off in the AFC, where I'm going Buffalo.
Look it up.
I'm going Buffalo in the AFC East.
Okay.
AFC West is going to be Kansas City. In the North, I'm going Cincinnati. My Super Bowl pick. Yeah, and then in the South, I'll give you Jacksonville. I like what they're building over there. I think.
All right.
They got a little taste of the playoffs last year. NFC is Philly in the East. It's the 49ers in the West. In the North, I was debating Detroit Vikings, but I'm going to go Lions. And then in the South.
That's tough. That's maybe the toughest pick of all of them.
Yeah, it is. Probably out of the whole freaking thing.
4 crappy teams.
Give me the experienced quarterback down in New Orleans. Derek Carr. I'm going to roll with the Saints. Although I don't feel great about that one. Got to say, I don't feel great about that one.
All right. What do you got, Los?
Well, I was going to go Bengals, but I don't want to be the same as Baller. So it was Bengals and Bills. I don't think the Chiefs get back. I'm going to say Buffalo gets in this year. Josh Allen's a monster.
All right. You got him going against the Niners?
Love James Cook. I think he's a breakout player for fantasy. So I'm going to say Bills, Niners finally get it done. Division winners, I'm going to go Buffalo, Cincinnati. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Chiefs are going to win the AFC West. I mean, not the Chiefs. I'm sorry, the Chargers.
Okay.
Ooh, I like that.
They're going to come up, and then Jacksonville.
right.
NFC, Niners, Eagles, Saints, Lions.
All right. Bora?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and saying the Jacksonville Jaguars are gonna win the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
I like
Trevor
that.
Lawrence is gonna win
That's
the
bold.
MVP with Calvin Ridley as his number one option. And he's gonna win it against the Cowboys. You know, Dak Prescott's finally getting full reign over this offense. Kellen Moore is going to the Chargers. You saw Dak calling plays in the preseason. I think he's going to have a comeback year. And that team is really good. Their defense is really good. And their offensive line is pretty good. Assuming that everyone stays healthy. Brandon Cooks is a pretty good number 2 option. He's really underrated. For my division winners, I'm gonna say the Jets take the East. I'm gonna go with the Browns. I think Watson he's gonna have a comeback year. Let's see. I'm gonna go with the Jaguars and the Chiefs. In the NFC, I'm gonna go with Cowboys, Lions, Saints, and Niners.
All right. Well, I guess I'm last since you guys all failed the assignment and didn't go with the wild card pick. So I'll.
You already had it prepared before you even asked the
No,
question.
I didn't. I did not. I'm going to wing it right from my left hip as I do a lot of this. Here we go. Division winners. I'll start off AFC. I'm going Buffalo, and I'm going Cincinnati, Jacksonville, and the Chiefs. In the NFC, I'm going to go my one surprise, Dallas. And then I'm going Detroit. And I'm going to go, just to be different, I'll go Atlanta. Just to be different. What's so funny?
Oh, just keep going.
All right. And then I'll take the Niners. My wild card teams in the AFC are going to be Miami, the Jets, and Baltimore. And the Chargers are left out. No, you know what? Yeah, Miami, Jets, Baltimore. There we go. NFC wild cards, we got Philly. We got Seattle. And I'll go with the Commanders sneaking in the last wild card. And the Super Bowl, I've got the Niners going up against a wild card this year, maybe. Let's go with the Jets. Let's go with the surprise pick.
That's what Will B said.
Yes, Jets.
Jets. Yep.
Kind of a wild pick. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, fun night though. We it's going to be an interesting season. I mean, key to this year for the Niners, let's get off to a
Fast
7-1, 8-1, whatever when's their bye? Week 9? After the 8th game or 9th game? I think it's the 9th. After they've played 9, I think they get a bye.
Yeah.
I want to see the Niners. I really want to see the Niners at 8-1 coming out of the bye.
Wow.
And they get off notoriously to these 3-5 starts, 4-5 constantly, puts them in a position to run the table almost in the second half, and they end up, second, third seed or a wild card. You want to get that number 1 seed, you better be minimum 7-2 after going into your bye, because you got Philly in the second half, so you can afford, if you're going to go head to head, and you got Dallas, I believe, at home in week 5. They got to win those 2 games, because I think Dallas and Philly, one of those teams is going to be who the Niners are competing for the number 1 seed.
I don't sweat paying Dallas on the road in the playoffs. The Niners will have more fans there than them, but they don't want to go back.
Hey, Aruku,
They don't want to go back to Philly.
don't talk trash to me about my fantasy team. Wait till I play you. What's the name of his team?
It's which one is that?
Haruko takes a dive again. What's the name of your team?
Oh, the Danny Los Dodger Dan or something.
Oh,
like that?
you're calling me Dodger Dan. This is smacking me. I'm going to be ready and guaranteed. I'm going to be up for when I play you. Even if I only win 2 games all year, it's Haruku and Eric. I'm not losing to this guy.
You know, my key to the 49ers season is going to be the run defense. We saw it in preseason. They were getting gashed up the gut. And Armstead is a phenomenal run stopper, but Hargrave is a pass rusher. He's not that good against the run, and I'm worried about their depth. Kevin Givens, Javon Kinlaw, they were getting beat off the ball and getting pushed 5 yards off the ball in preseason. I don't know.
What happened?
What are you doing, Dan?
I don't touch a thing.
What did you do?
I didn't do nothing.
That's my key. I need to see them being able to hold up for a full season. So,
you did that.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And to add on to that, the QB runs were really giving the Niners some trouble against.
And the short, they were like last.
The Chargers.
They were last in the NFL with like 3rd and short or whatever. They were ranked last in short runs.
Yeah, great point. And the run defense definitely needs to be more stout than what we saw in the preseason. And Kenny Pickett, the Steelers quarterback, he's really freaking mobile. And this team in the past has kind of, they've had some lapses against mobile quarterbacks that are able to kind of break through that 4-man rush like Los was talking about. Because when you're rushing 4, there's some alleys a quarterback can sneak through and potentially gain some yardage. So that's something to monitor is Kenny Pickett's legs. Got to have disciplined rush lanes because you don't want Kenny running free.
Stay in your gaps. Yep.
Baller, have the Niners announced who the third linebacker is going to be? Who's starting next to Greenlaw and Warner's? It's like
I have not seen that. I have not.
What's the mystery on that? Warren Burks? Is it? I was surprised.
Is he dinged up right now, Burks?
I think he might be.
Didn't he have his like sprained shoulder or whatever? Wasn't it something like that?
I think so. I'm guessing it's DFF. I think they're gonna roll with the veteran. Although I do like what I've seen from the rookies, Jalen Graham, D. Winters. I think they're gonna go with the veteran in Flanagan Fowles.
Yeah. Is Ray McLeod back? I saw him back.
Yeah, he's
back. I thought I heard he's back. He was practicing.
I'm pretty sure he's back. Yeah,
that's very interesting.
It might be. I think I saw him as questionable. It's like 5 guys questionable, including Mooney and Kittle. 5 guys.
Mooney, Kittle, because that came out today, right?
Yeah.
Who else was on it?
Kittle.
Ray was questionable.
Hufunga.
Yeah, there's some kind of big names on there.
Gibson's questionable.
Our 2 starting safeties.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, you guys, we ready to wrap? I mean, I know Baller's got to run, and I think I'm ready to call it a night. So we'll be back tomorrow night. Hey, Baller, anytime you want to join us on the Giants post-game wrap, it's more of a comedy show than an analysis at this point.
It is.
But
make sure everybody in the chat goes over to
your mic cut out. I think he was talking about going over to Baller's channel, right?
Yep.
Get over to Baller's channel, Bay Area Baller 18 on YouTube.
Follow him on Twitter, same Bay Area Baller 18.
Hit the subscribe button on his channel. You'll get some awesome info. You'll get some breakdowns that I don't have the time to do on this channel, nor probably really even the desire to do it at this point, because it was way before my time. I'm back in the leather days, leather helmet days. So
maybe me and Baller could do an all 22 after the Niners Steelers game and break it down.
Yeah, hey, anytime you want to add to this channel, you do it all 22. But Baller's got it down. So go check it out. You'll learn a lot what's going on, ins and outs of the game itself. And, come basketball season, Warriors, that's going to be a fun year coming up here in just another month or so. Training camp will be opening and season starts in just a month and a half. And Baller's great at basketball as well, so we'll be doing some basketball stuff with Baller, and also we'll be over there on Larry's channel, the Krug Show, the Godfather of. We're like the Bill Walsh had his tree. We're kind of like Larry's
tree.
Yeah, we're like
branch.
little twigs sticking off.
We're just little. Yeah, some of us are just sprouting, not even have leaves yet, like me. But
I have a lot of fun, and I'm lucky. Larry linked up with me. We're going to be going live after every 49er game. Me,
That's
Larry, and Kev. So, and that'll be multi-streamed on my channel as well as Larry's.
Awesome.
So I'm looking forward to that. So post-game Niners should be really good because Larry's going to be coming in, fresh from the locker room, talking to the players. He's going to hop in while me and Kev get this thing going. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really freaking awesome to watch. So, hey, thanks for having me on. I had a blast, and, hey, we'll talk soon. Nice meeting you, fellas.
Awesome. Awesome. So close us out, Eric Romo. So we will see you guys tomorrow night after Giants Rockies. Should be somewhere around the 10 o'clock time frame. 7:15 opening pitch. So we'll see you tomorrow night.
Everyone, go to hit up Frank's channel. He's on right now, In the Dungeon. Go check him out.
In the Dungeon. Ian, yeah. We'll hit up Frank Red. He's an awesome dude. He's got his own channel starting, so help him out over there.
Yep.
It's all big family here. We try to help everybody out.
Absolutely.
Till tomorrow night, you guys. Arrivederci. Ciao.
Woo!